Um, Hi, Lumik. I'm sorry. I've been thinking about doing a video response to you in more than a week because, well, I know I'm not from the Balkans and I don't, what do I know, right? Just a girl, but, well, I really don't think that your 17 minutes Balkan history explains history at all. And, well, what are we if we don't know our history, if we don't know ourselves? And so I really think this is worth making. And in this whole story, so the first thing I really think is worth mentioning is that Albanians are descendants from the ancient Illyrians, which were a great people, very close to the ancient Greeks, genetically and culturally, who thrived in the Roman world, much success, golden era. As you know, Constantine the Great was an Illyrian. And as you know, Albanians are direct descendants from the Illyrians. Please don't begin with all your theories because this is proved. In anyway, it is no shame to have arrived later. I'm sorry. So the point is, when the Slavs came, more or less at the same time that the rest of us, European barbarians, came, well, most people mingled, as happened in the rest of Europe. And one of the few people who didn't, for various reasons, were a tiny portion of the Illyrians mainly from the mountains, who managed to really keep apart and maintain many cultural aspects and really a cultural conscience of their own. And I don't know exactly how this happens and why, as I don't know why with the Romanians or with the Greeks, but well, it is a fact. And so you all lived, I believe, I don't really know, fairly peacefully under the Byzantine Empire. And well, when it fell, and various kingdoms were formed in the Balkans, the greatest of which was the Serbian one, of course. Well, things changed. As you know, there were many kingdoms invading many kingdoms. I don't really remember, but I remember that the Serbian kingdom invaded many parts of Illyrian territory, let's call it like that, many times. And I know that it was in these centuries, 10th, 11th, 12th, that the Albanian people, the Illyrian people, developed a national conscience, a conscience of being different. And of course, that self-conscience was also based in part in a hostility towards their neighbors, since their neighbors kept trying to invade. And I don't really know what all the particular developments were, but well, this is the big picture. And so when the Turks came, the Ottomans came, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why the Illyrian people chose to become Muslim, just to assert their differences. And I believe they made a pact with the Ottoman Empire because they saw it kind of as a savior from Serbian and Croatian and whatever, right, invasion and attacks. And so, yes, I have no problem believing. Well, Fernand Braudel says that they became Muslims because they lived mainly in the mountains, and people in the mountains were not Christianized as profoundly as people in the plains. But, you know, I don't, well, there are many explanations, but the most probable explanation is that really, well, they wanted to assert their difference. And I have no problem believing that they were a favorite during the Ottoman Empire for as Muslims, because Islamic culture always did this, less taxes and everything. Although I have no problem believing that they were fairly subjugated and suffered from the Ottoman conquest as much as you did. As you know, the Albanian national hero, Skanderbeg, is the hero who fought against the Ottomans, just like the Serbian national hero and the Croat and the Macedonian and etc., etc., etc. You are all brothers. You should really understand that, because when an outsider looks at your history, he sees the similarities much quicker than he sees the differences. It is quite odd, I have to say, for an outsider to understand why do you think yourselves as so different when you are all so close, and we are as Europeans, we are all so close. But anyway, so I have no problem believing that the Albanians were a little favored under the Ottoman rule, and that all the other people suffered greatly with the Ottoman rule, and especially the Serbian people, because you had this great kingdom. As there were many kingdoms, I know, but I also know that the Serbian kingdom was the greatest one and the most important one. So I have no problem believing that you all suffered very much. And when you got your independence, this is really a tragedy, because you got your independence at a time when your European culture and values were not in a very good shape, let's say it like that. So when you got your independence and the land began to be divided in kingdoms, in kingdoms, no, excuse me, in nations, your criteria for defining a nation were really, well, let's say, bad criteria. That it was European criteria at the time, but this is interesting. The ethnic, based on race and based on ethnic superiority, and on thinking yourself as so different and so better than the neighbor, was an ideology that only existed in Western Europe from about 1870 to 1945. And it had to do with economical and social dynamics that were affecting people, European people in this time. So you really got a bad kind of nationhood. Anyway, when you got your independence from the Ottoman rule and you all began building nations, as you well know, the land was divided not according to justice or to who occupied the land or who, what ethnic were the people who were in a particular place from. Although that was the theory and the doctrine, you well know that it was all a matter of European balance. Serbia had Russia to protect its interests, Croatia had Italy and Germany, Slovenia had Germany, Greece had whatever, and Albania didn't have anyone, since the Turkish Empire was a chaos. And so, as you well know, when the initial division of lands was made in all those conferences, and as you well know, there was a lot of hate in these times. There was really a lot of hate, and I have no problem believing that this came from all sides. maybe it's true, we are more informed about Serbian propaganda and Croatian propaganda than probably Albanian one, but this was made with a lot of